Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of the Flower Farm podcast. I have my good friend Dave here yet again, and today you are back. And today we're gonna do a set review of the best cards in each color, and also talk about some of the overhyped cards in each color. So let's just dive right into it. Starting with Amber. First card, in no particular order, right? So people don't get mad if your favorite card is not number 1. This is just in no order, just top 5. We'll start with Nani.
Nani. 3 cost.
Inkable Nani, 3/3. Good old draw card. Basically, scry the top 4, pick a character, cost 1 or 2 or below, add it to your hand.
Yeah, this is my favorite Amber card in the set. For those who know me, I love Mal Sorceresses. Any 3 cost character that draws a card has a special place in my heart. When they're good, I really like it. I think this card is great, particularly in Amber Steel, because it basically means you play the entire game without missing Dock. And Amber Steel without Dock is a much different deck than Amber Steel with Dock. So if you draw Dock, you can just ink Nani and move on. Yep. But if you don't, she'll go and find it for you. She's a great singer. She's a battler. A lot of the Amber Steel decks are like moving away from like Calhouns and Captain Hooks and stuff like that. So Nani's like the 3/3 stat line is powerful. Unlikely to get unlikely to get traded back when she sings. Because like presumably you would banish the cat or whatever, the Cheshire Cat or whatever would trade back into Nani. I love this card. It's my favorite one.
Same. It's like Be Our Guest on a body, but it's a 3/3, unlike Malsork, which is a 2/2. So the stats are actually incredible for this card. I think this card is really good. And like you said, in Amber Steel, I think this is probably the best shell for her as well. Like you said, because of Dock. Not just Dock, but mainly that's what you're looking for most of the time.
She also, Amber Steel like frequently wants to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, and then 2-drops, because like with Dock. So she also like finds a 2-drop to go with Dock. If you have 4 ink, she can find a Daisy for you to keep up the pressure. I'm very high on this card. Might even be Infinity playable for the same reason, because like those Amber Steel aggro decks are a much different deck when they find their Docks, and you can find Piglets in that format. She's good. I like her a lot. Yeah.
Probably one of the cards I was highest on as well when it was revealed. Like, it's just like everything about her is good. Like, people will make an argument and be like, oh, she could bottom my good stuff. But like, honestly, you know what I mean?
I will bottom almost anything to find Dock.
Exactly. Like, I'll bottom my fire to cannons. I'll bottom my strength. That's fine. I will find my Dock. Yeah. Cool. Moving on. Pudge, my good little friend that controls the weather. If you have a character named Lilo in play this character for free. I think this card, when it was first announced, people were going ballistic because you get to play for free, right?
It does a lot.
It certainly does a lot. Like, especially in something like dogs, you can get Pudge out for free so that you can get Tramp out very easily, or much easier than before, because you can just lower the cost. So like 2 ink Tramps are much more common with this card. If you play Lady 5 in the deck, you can even grab them back and play it for free on the same turn. You can just sing an early End of the Sea with this card, because you just spam a whole bunch of Pudges out with your Lilo, right? And the next turn just rip a UTS. I think at least to me so far in testing, it's been strongest in dogs so far.
Yeah, and a particular version of dogs too.
In a very particular one, which isn't, after the clarification on the lorecast, it not as strong as it was when we were initially playing it, but it's still like very, very strong.
Yeah, and what I'm referring to is the Stitch Rockstar versions, because this is just a free draw card. The line for that deck is you can play the Emerald Stitch on turn 1, then you can play the Grandmother Willow, and then you can shift Rockstar Stitch on turn 3.
Yep.
If you also are able to sneak the 1-cost Lilo into play, either on turn 1 or turn 2 with the Willow, the order of the Stitch and the Lilo don't matter, then you can play as many free Pudges as you have in your hand.
And keep drawing.
And so if you have it all, you can turn 1 Stitch, turn 2 Willow plus Lilo, turn 3 Rockstar, and then at least, up to 4 Pudges, draw 4 cards.
Up to 4.
Up to 4.
Yeah.
Even just one. Right. Even just putting one, 1 Pudge and having 4 characters in play at the end of the 3rd turn plus drawing a card is just very, very strong.
Yeah. Very, very strong. It's so strong that it made a lot of our blue friends out there really upset.
Yeah. Bad week for Sapphire players.
Yeah, specifically for them. But yeah, I mean, like, I heard a comparison. They're like, oh, but Steel LeFou, it was also free, but it didn't see play. But it's like, but that had a very big condition where you need to banish something.
Yeah.
This one just have a Lilo out there.
Yeah. And there's good Lilos now.
Yes.
Before there were only 4, and now there's
8.
There's quite a bit more. We'll get
at
to
least. Oh, sorry, 12 if you're an Amber Steel, at least. Yeah.
16, up to 16 if you're
up to 16. Yeah.
It's a different, the Lilos are different now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can actually go to 20 in Amber Steel because you can play the space suit Lilo.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Wow.
If you want to play that one. but either way, like, it just enables very explosive openers for these decks. Like, they already had explosive openers to begin with, but like just even more explosive. Like, just the amount of consistency I think I'm seeing this set so far from Dogs players that can get Tramp out on turn 3 is incredibly high.
Yeah. The other funny thing about the Rockstar variant of the deck is, like, even Spooky Sight doesn't do anything because it doesn't banish Rockstar Stitch, and then you just give them infinite ink to combo
to play more things to the board.
Yeah. It's hopeless. It's pretty
the only time that the Rockstar I've seen get stopped is because they drew into an Under the Sea or a Chromacon or another Rockstar, and then there's like, oh, I can't keep playing everything. But other than that, like, they just keep going. Like, it's just like nonstop, right? If you don't take out the Stitch. Yeah. Cool. Good card. Moving on. I think this is probably the one that's most controversial for everyone. Grandmother Willow.
Yeah, Grandmother Willow is a 2-cost uninkable 1/2/1. And she comes with the ability, the first character you play each turn costs 1 less. So that is a static ability, which means you don't get to choose which character costs 1 less. It's the first character you play. It can't be the second. And there's some corner cases where that comes up. If you have a free Pudge, you can't play Pudge first because Pudge would eat the Willow cost reduction. Also, if you have 2 Willows in play, you can't play a 1-drop as the first card you play. Well, you can, but both Willows will discount the 1-drop you play, so you won't get the second discount on the next card you play. But as a benefit, it does mean that any Amber Lilos that you want to return from your discard at the start of your turn are discounted by the Grandmother Willow. So that's quite powerful. This is easily the most explosive and powerful card in Amber that we've got. An unanswered Willow will just completely run away with the game, regardless of whether you're just like the Rockstar version or just like a classical Dogs version. The most powerful thing, obviously, is that if Tramp 7 is the first card you play on your turn, it costs 2 less with the Willow. So it's not uncommon to be able to play that on turn 3 very reliably. And so it's just quite explosive. I think every Amber deck is going to have a Grandmother Willow variant of it. So if you played like the yellow purple mid-range decks that I was playing, and a lot of us in the past, or like the Monstro combo decks, the normal mid-range versions can replace the lanterns with Willow, and they're like almost the same. And then the Monstro combo versions were previously playing the Huey that does a cost reduction when it quests, and I think Grandmother Willow is just a quite easy upgrade there. Yep. Amber Steel gets to do some pretty nutty stuff as well. Amber Steel with the 16 one-drop versions that were like running Aurora and Mulan.
Just reduction everywhere.
Now, now you can go, you can go Aurora Tiana, or you can go Aurora Willow Rapunzel if you wanted to put Rapunzel on the deck, because it would cost one less from Aurora, and then it cost a second less from the Willow. So like you can have some very explosive turns in that color combo too.
Yeah, like arguably this might be the one of, if not the best card in the set.
So I agree with you in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But a card like this is self-regulating. Like,
for sure.
Right. After the third time you lose to the Willow deck, you just go into Dreamboard and you're like, fire the cannons.
Yep.
Let's fill out the Amber Steel.
We've seen it already. We've seen people doing it.
So it's the type of card where if you disrespect it and you're one of those people that's like, I'm just going to dodge the Willow players, right? It's like, well, at every round of the tournament, you could potentially run into a Willow player. It's not like you can, it's like going to be a round one kind of, flop deck. It's not like the Willow players are going to be everywhere.
Exactly. It's not like the previous sets where like you could pretty safely dodge the aggro because it's like 10% of the room.
Yeah.
Whereas like this set is just like they got so many tools that like I don't think you can dodge them anymore. Like a parallel I can think of is like maybe set similar to set 8, set 6, kind of when Diggy was kind of a thing, and then like when they got Lady 3 in set 8, like that's when like the Amber aggro decks were like everywhere seemingly, and they wouldn't go away for the whole set. My hunch is like you said, possibly like they're probably not going to go anywhere this set. Like they're going to be around. Can't just dodge.
And they will beat you very quickly if you choose to not interact with the grandmother.
In like 4 turns, and you scoop it up in 10 minutes. Go ahead, grab a lunch until the next round. All right, moving on. This is actually one of my favorite cards, not because it's one of the best ones. I just love the card itself, which is Snowboarder Stitch. The 5-cost inkable, 4/5 that quests for 2. And its effect is, whenever this character quests, if you have 2 or more other characters in play, you may draw a card. In a deck such as Amber, that traditionally, ever since Rapunzel's gone, has struggled with card draw, this is a fairly viable alternative to drawing cards, because like when does Amber not have 2 other characters on the board?
Yeah. This is hope for like a larger Amber, the hope that a larger Amber deck other than like the aggro variants will possibly get a chance in the format, like with Ariel on turn 4 and this on turn 5. There's some good kind of mid-rangey options available to that deck. It looks pretty bad in the face of what like the Amethyst cards could, what
of
they
course.
could do. Like you have to work so hard to draw a card with this Stitch, and you just play Hades and
draw 2.
But like it's good. It's in a way it's like statted well. It dodges like most of the removal. It doesn't get hit by World's Greatest Criminal Mind. The downside is
bolted.
Doesn't get bolted, but the downside is it gets like run over by the Sapphire Pete that we'll talk about later.
Yep.
And so like,
and you have to quest to get the draw.
And like it's nothing immediate, but it's a good card. It's fairly statted to be defensive. 4 attack is a good amount. Can challenge cats and stuff like that. But I don't think if you could pair this with say Amethyst that this would be good enough to make the cut. But in like a mid-rangey Amber Steel, or some of the other color combos, I think this is a pretty good and interesting card. And I know a lot of people are quite high on this card.
Yeah. I mean, like where I've seen most success with this card is like with Akud, where you like cheat it out on turn 3 on the play. A 4/5 on turn 3 is fairly hard to deal with for a lot of decks.
Yeah, very, very hard.
Yeah. And then that draw is pretty much going off. on turn 3.
Yep.
Yep.
And if you draw one of the songs and your 2 cost was a singer, very possible that you get to banish the only thing that could challenge the Stitch, and it gets to go for another card. It's a very snowbally card. Like if you get the first card, it can run away with the game. But
yep. I mean, I've seen the Stitch run away like if it quests like a second time, if it's not dealt with, it just runs away with the game. Yep. Cool. Moving on to the next, well, there's 2 cards for our last spot in our top 5. We have the 3-cost Pocahontas. So she's an inkable 2/5. Her ability is when you play this character, chosen character gets +1 lore this turn. And the other card is David, which is a 2-cost inkable character, 1/4, quest for 1, bodyguard. Kind of hard to choose the last slot, so we kind of just gave it to both of these characters.
Yeah. So the David is an upgrade over Jim Deere.
Yes, Jim Deere is an 0/4.
Was an 0/4. This is a 1/4. So we got a little power creep on our 2-cost bodyguard. This in the Tiana aggro decks, like at the turn you play Tiana on turn 2 or 3, and then you protect with turn Aurora, Tiana, next turn Lady, Jim Deere, protect your Tiana, and it's very, very explosive. So like that was a line very popular in Fabled. It kind of wasn't good enough last set, but now a potential option that's available to the deck. The Amber aggro deck's got a lot better. And then the Pocahontas is quite interesting. A lot of the Amethyst burn style decks that we have seen in the past are usually like paired with green, but now there's like this Amber variant that has a very, very explosive start with only 3 cards. You can go turn 1, Daisy Duck, turn 2, Amethyst Pocahontas, turn 3, play the Amber Pocahontas on the Daisy, quest for 3, and Pocahontas quest for 4. So if you add it all up with the Daisy quest from the first turn, you're at 9 lore, and you've only played 3 cards.
Right.
And so a very, very aggressive line available. That opens up kind of another potential deck choice.
Yep. I think Chris, one of the members in Flower Farm, he mapped it out where you can lethal someone in 4 turns in this deck if you hit that line. Yeah.
No, it's very, 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 very aggressive deck. Yeah. Like the blue decks are going to be very fearful. Will be very afraid. They already had Daisy Duck problems, and they do not want to see a purple card inked.
And they didn't even need to use Willow on turn 2 to do it.
And that was without Willow.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Moving on to our next color, Emerald. Starting off with the 1-cost Stitch. So this one is an inkable 1-cost character. Stat line is 2/1, quest for 1. Its ability is on exert, chosen opposing character gains reckless until the start of your next turn.
Not a ton to say about this card. The most important thing is that in Amber Emerald, it allows that turn 3 Rockstar shift now. And that's like the most important text on the card. I have won games because I've given my opponents character that would be able to quest for the win reckless so they couldn't, and it swings the race that way. So it like actually has a fair amount of some amount of utility as like as a little end game disruptor. But the most important thing is it's just a body that Rockstar shift can shift on turn 3.
Yep. It's just like too good to ignore, right? Yeah. If you just let this card, you like we talked about earlier in the Amber section, if you let the Stitch go off, good luck. Yeah. Okay, moving on. We have 2 cards in the slot because they're very similar. We have the legendary Donald, and then we also have the 5-cost Minnie. So the Minnie is a 5-cost inkable, 3/4, quest for 2. It has ward, and its ability is when you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck face down under one of your characters or locations with boost. If you do, draw a card. And the other one, the Donald, is a 4-cost inkable, 4/4 stat line, quest for 1. It's got 2 abilities. First one, Spirit of Giving. Whenever you use the boost ability of a character, you may put the top card of your deck under them face down. And then Well Wishes. During your opponent's turn, whenever one of your other characters is banished, you may draw a card for each card that was under them. So why do we put these two together, Dave?
Because they're a package deal.
Yeah.
They're like the two best enablers for the boost, for the Emerald boost decks out there.
Mm-hmm.
The most common pairing that I've seen so far is with Amethyst, because you get the Genie that we'll talk about in a bit. That's like very, very aggressive, particularly with Donald, with both of these cards.
Yep.
They're both also pretty like aggressively costed. The Minnie Mouse has Ward and Quest for 2, and get you your card back plus putting a card under one of your boosts. They're very good in the boost package. The set also has 2 4-cost boost cards that are quite good. The first is Goofy in Emerald, that whenever the Goofy is banished, your opponent discards a card for each card under him. And then there's also Alice, which lets you draw the cards that are underneath. So the curve of like Genie into Donald, is like pretty aggressive, and it lets you get 2 cards under your Genie. And then, Minnie can put another card under there, and you can get them all back with the Donald. It's quite powerful. It's also very fragile. Unfortunately, it's a hard stretch to go this route rather than putting, say, Genie, Elsa, and Demona in your deck. If you were playing Amethyst as a color pair. But these are 2 really interesting enablers in this color pair. Green does have like kind of the best boost cards. It's got the very aggressive Flynn, and then you also get like the Emily Quackfaster in this color combo. That's like another way to cheat cards, additional cards under your stuff. I have seen some Emerald Sapphire boost decks running around that are quite interesting, that also take this color pair. That one's kind of cool because there's a lot of warded characters, warded 2-questers in these 2 colored pairs. So you can kind of word your way all the way up. Still has a Demona problem, unfortunately. But these cards are pretty cool.
Oh, definitely.
And they're fragile, but when they work, you get some crazy screenshots. Like you can draw 9 with your
I've seen you and a couple other people have like over 10 cards in their hand because these cards went off and there was no disruption.
Yeah,
but
the other thing I'll note about the Donald is it's also particularly good with Webby and Shift Webby, right? So if you're on the draw, turn 1, say against like a Sapphire deck, you're on the draw. Turn 1, you play Webby. Turn 2, you Shift Webby, get additional ink. Turn 3, you can play a 4-drop. You can play Donald, which will protect the Webby. And if it doesn't protect Webby, right? But if they challenge Webby, you'll get to draw a card on the way back, which is quite good.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, if you pair it with Amethyst, it's kind of hard to see, beating Genie, Elsa, Demona, but rotations in 2 sets. So like, if they don't get replaced, it's going to be a lot different, right? For that color pairing. Yeah, for these cards. So yeah, something to definitely keep your eye on in the future as well. Moving on, we have Todd and Vixey. Yeah,
Todd is just a 1-cost 2/2/1. And Vixey is a Surfer Mini. She's a 3-cost 1/3 that quests for 2, but she costs 1 less if you have a Todd in play. So as a package, you can play Todd on turn 1 and Vixey on turn 2, which is a pretty aggressive start because presumably you could also play Vixey on turn 3, and then if you were saying Amethyst, you could play Genie and Elsa, right? And you just have this like very aggressive. Very aggressive little all evasive curve, like works with Dumbo.
Yep.
The cool thing is that it's also all in green along with the Shift Webby package. So you have this like A plus B combo with Webby that's really great when you're on the draw. And then you have this A plus B combo with Todd and Vixey that's really good when you're on the play. And so it gives, like with a 16 card package in just, completely in Emerald, you get this, very powerful on the draw line and very powerful on the play line. And when combined with a card that we'll talk about in a second, Vixey's like kind of tough to get off the table, and she's quite
Very hard.
quite aggressive.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's hope for like it's another aggressive green deck that's not paired with Amber. Is what like these two offer up.
Yep. That seems to be a theme this set. It's a lot of aggressive strategies. A lot of
Yeah.
Just different aggressive strategies, which some people might not like it, some people do. But no, it's cool. Okay, moving on. Next card. I think this is my favorite green card that was revealed when I first saw it. It's Education or Elimination. It's a 4-cost song. Its ability is choose one. First one is draw a card, and then chosen character of yours gets +1 lore and gains evasive until the start of your next turn. Or the second ability is banish chosen damage character. And just like any cards that has like different modals, like one of the card that reminds me is like the 3-cost uninkable Emerald Legendary Anna back in set 5, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you were one of the ones that were high on this card, that card back in the day, right? Because like, in something like after you, let's just say you Genie into Elsa, you hit something, Elsa can, what's Elsa gonna do now? You got stuff to sing. You don't have friends to sing anymore, right? You now you can draw a card, give another character an extra lore, and give it evasive if you have an aggressive. I don't know. Maybe you had the Flynn and it's already boosted there, right? You can give it evasive, extra lore. Give it evasive, quest some more.
This is like a very high power level card that doesn't quite have a home yet.
Yeah.
So it's got 3 modes on it, right? The first, of course, being inkable, right? So it's always a resource that you can put into your inkwell, right? And then you have this choice. You have this choice to like finish off something quite large, or combine with like malicious means scary. But the more interesting one is the draw a card, give a lore,
and evasive,
and evasive. The set's got quite a few ways to like take advantage of that lore pip as like kind of 2.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were going like an Emerald Amethyst route that was like aggressively slanted, like with Pocahontas, you can play Elimination or Education, or if I can't remember the
Education or Elimination.
Education or Elimination, right? You can choose that. You could choose another character that you have, quest with it, and then Pocahontas you get to double dip on the lore pip, right? Because the Amethyst Pocahontas will gain the additional lore as well. It's a really cool card. It's I don't know that the format will be right for it. You would hope for something like the 8-cost Tamatoa from pre-rotation is like some big thing. That's what Anna did really well for like the green steel decks back in the day. It was like you needed, when Ruby Sapphire got to the Tamatoa phase of the game, Anna and like whatever 1-cost you had lying around combined to take it out. Mm-hmm. And so we don't really have big threats like that these days where you're trading, way up on tempo by taking it out. But this is a cool card that I expect one day we'll find a home. Lots of combo potential.
Yep.
For this card. It's a good one.
Yeah, this is definitely a good card. Gonna find a home at some point, hopefully. Moving on. Next card is Snowfort. I don't think a lot of people were talking about this card too much. And then in testing, as people play more of it, then you saw people like, I'm going to play more of this because it just does so much and it's so annoying. And what it reminds me very much of is like when an Emerald deck drops at ChromaCon when they're the slightest bit ahead, right? And it just really shuts the door on your opponent. So Snowfort is a 3-cost uninkable item with 2 abilities. First one's the high ground. Your characters get +1 strength. And then Barricade. During your opponent's turn, your characters gain resist +1. So especially in an Amethyst mirror when you're battling evasives, this card is so annoying because you can't kill their genies, but they can smack yours back.
So this card is the one that makes me really excited about Todd and Vixey, because when you're on the play and you go Todd, Vixey, Fort, like it's a struggle to get Vixey off the table in an efficient manner. And on the flip side, the same is true when you're on the draw and you Webby, shift Webby, play a fort. I'm fort build at this point. It took me a long. I'm a late adopter. I didn't believe in the fort.
Me
and
neither.
People were telling me how good it was.
Yeah.
But I came onto the fort during the phase when everybody was trying to play Ruby decks again, and so the removal spells were the Headless Horseman and Grab Your Bow, and like you could just
this ruins them.
You could just take lines where they can't play a removal spell for the rest of the game, and like you'll get to. They haven't done anything in 3 turns. You get to hand check them with Ursula, and they've got like 3 horsemen and / Grab Your Bow stuck in their hand, and they can't do anything with. I didn't believe it. It's also like if you're not experienced playing with it, you have to gain experience playing with her against it, because you always get the strength bonus, but resist is only on your opponent's turn. And so if you're somebody like me who struggles to read cards, you think on your turn you get the attack, and on your opponent's turn you get the resist. But no, you get the attack all the time. It's another. I've been going Surfer Stitches for 7 because I'll get 2 forts in play. My 8ing turn is run Sven into Surfer Stitch to put like 6 or 7 damage counters on it, and then go them. And win the game from 15 or whatever. It reads much worse, but like in practice, it's like it's got weird applications. I've been playing it on turn 3, even against like dogs.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is sucker your opponent into turning one character sideways when they shouldn't, and then your fort is a removal spell. Right, and so you don't lose the tempo of putting the fort into play. Another great time for the fort is the turn after they play tramp, and you suspect that they're keeping Under the Sea, and then you get to play the fort and turn off Under the Sea.
Yep, very cool card.
Fort build. It's
very cool, very annoying card to play against. That's for sure.
I was playing somebody earlier today, and they put a fort into play against me on turn 3, and I played Benja on turn.
And you're just like, all right, see ya.
They're like you get the long pause where they're like, they're messaging their friends, and they're like, can you believe this? My opponent just Benja'd my fort.
Well, it was kind of like near the end, leading up to Richmond, when everyone's playing item removal again for Chromacon, right? It's just like, if this card takes off, people are going to do that again. Yeah, because it's that strong if you leave it unchecked.
And they scale they scale linearly, like when you put another one into play, right? They don't but like the effect the second one has when you already have the first one, like 2 completely turn off Tinkerbell, like the giant fairy.
Yep.
Like no side of they can't do anything with giant fairy.
No, it's like it reminds me of the your favorite card, the Sapphire Cogsworth back in the day in set 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like when your opponent, if you were playing a steel deck and they had like 2 Cogsworth out, you're just like, I can't do anything.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, reminds me of that.
Yeah, but this one also, it costs less, and it also protects you from Sisu.
Exactly. If only Cogsworth had the +1 strength as well.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We're going to go to Amber next. Oh, sorry, not Amber. Ruby. Ruby. Our favorite color that has been left on the corner on the sidewalk for quite some time. They
took all the good Ruby stuff and made it Amber.
Yeah, they actually did. Yeah.
But they didn't give Ruby anything back. They just took it all.
Yeah. Like it was very hard when we were talking to like find 5 cards to put on this list. Very, very hard. We struggled with this, but we managed to get 5, just barely. Starting with Liquidator. It's a 2-cost inkable, 4/2 with the underdog ability. So if this is your first turn and you're not the first player, you pay 1 less to play this character, and it has Reckless. So if you're on the draw as a Ruby deck, against any kind of Amber strategy that plays Daisy turn 1, and you're like, well, I got Liquidator, I'm going to drop it turn 1, and then you start laughing.
Yeah, if your opponent plays Daisy, you play Liquidator, and if they don't play Daisy, you just ink it and you move on.
Easy. Yep.
It's a valuable tool. You know, like same's true against like Webby, right? Like any problematic for toughness thing, for willpower thing.
As if Ruby, it's not like they had that much of an issue compared to other decks hitting for 4 because they have like other red cards that can have with the strength based removal, because usually most of the 4 willpower stuff have very low strength. But there's just like extra.
I suspect the Liquidators, like if red blue has a chance in this format, like the Liquidator is like one of the reasons why, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think any other color combination really wants it.
Yeah, I haven't been really impressed with it in any other color combination, but in red blue, like even back in the day, if you can drop a 4/2 on turn 1, like solves a lot of your aggro issues, right? As a Sapphire deck. So yeah, definitely a solid card. Moving on, I think this was probably the card that most people were excited about when it was announced. Grab Your Bow. So it is a 5-cost uninkable song. The ability is banish up to 2 chosen characters with 2 strength or less.
Really powerful. I mean, it can get some really big stuff. Like you could get 2 Vincenzas with this.
Yeah.
Genie and Elsa are going to be like a common pair.
Yeah.
You know, it's really good against the aggressive decks. Like, you know, Tiana Daisy decks are going to be completely allergic to this. It's like it'll be game over if you ever get to play it.
Yep.
The problem is that like when it's bad, you know, when it's bad, it's going to be pretty bad.
Yep.
You can't ink it. You're stuck with it.
Yep.
At least with like Grab Your Swords, you could like cash it in with some of
for
your
2 damage.
Weaker. Yeah, with some of the weaker characters that you had in play to like finish off something bigger. This, if it's bad, it's like really bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like Under the Sea, right?
Thing, yeah, but the fortunate thing is like even stuff like green blue has some reasonable targets, whether they play like Donald Duck or Cinderella or just like Little Clarabelle. But like I suspect a lot of times you're going to be bad. You know, one of the things that you're going to hit with this is a Tipo, and you're not going to feel really good about that.
Yeah,
but you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
It can get better with some strength reducers. Like I know a lot of people got excited about, say, Sapphire Coil is like a way to combine with this to hit some bigger stuff. While it's true that that does work, Ruby Sapphire is like so desperate for anything that provides card advantage that, like in my experience with playing Sapphire Coil is just it doesn't usually work out in your favor because you you went -1 to put it into play, and there's no high rim to cash it in. But I think Grab Your Bow on your hole is like a really solid card. It's kind of more exciting in an Amber pairing with, say, Sarabi, which is a new Amber card that we didn't talk about. That it's a 4-cost 4/4 inkable that you can exert it to give something -4 strength.
-4 strength.
Next turn.
Yep.
And then Della's Moon Lullaby. So there's a pretty good song package in Amber Ruby that those decks can play. It's one of the more underexplored color combos. Like I haven't found a way to make it work, but like there could be something there.
Yeah. I mean, you already know I've been playing a lot of that color pairing. Just to bring back, nostalgia of Red Yellow Mufasa days back from set 2 and 3.
Yeah. So it's a cool color pair.
Yeah, it definitely is.
If you want to beat dogs, it probably really beats up on dogs.
It definitely does beat up on dogs. Well, one of the biggest issues when I was testing Grab Your Bow was that when your opponent realizes that you play the card and they start to play around it, Grab Your Bow only always hits one thing. So it's like a 5-cost uninkable brawl at that point rather than a 3-cost inkable brawl.
Yeah, I don't know. This is it's like self-regulating the same way Willow is, but in the wrong direction. Like it can't ever be good because your opponent can just play around it. So like, it's probably at best if I were building, it's like at best like a 2 of, unless like I really know I'm going into an aggro den. Yeah,
2 of at most.
Yeah,
I tried the whole like strength reduction thing with Sarabi and Della's Moon Lullaby and Grab Your Bows. Like it's still like very hard. It's inconsistent as well because you also have to set up the singer for both things. Yeah. Right. So like oftentimes you don't even have your singer 5 available to Grab Your Bow.
Yeah. The other problem is that these decks have like the Ruby Horseman and the Ruby 1-cost Sisu, and they're all uninkable and they're all bad at the same time, right? And so like when they're bad, they're all in your hand and they're all bad. Yep. There's like no way to get rid of them.
They literally do nothing.
Yeah, you're paying. If just one of these cards was inkable, like it would like revolutionize the deck. But instead,
you're stuck with uninkables, and you're left playing a card like Sarabi to give -4 strength to make them relevant.
Yeah, you won't catch me with Sarabi in my deck. I'll leave that to the other people.
Moving on. This card I definitely overlooked when it was first announced. This one is Kristoff's Lute. It's a 3-cost uninkable item. Its ability is exert, pay 2, reveal the top card of your deck. You may play it as if it were in your hand. Otherwise, put it in your discard. So the decks I've seen most played with this card is definitely red-blue, especially once they ramp into higher ink, especially when they're at like 11 ink. You can just play everything that you have in your deck right off the top. Number. Yeah, a magic number. Like that, like you mentioned earlier, right? That deck struggles to draw. Right.
Like I said, the deck is just so desperate for some +1s. The problem is that like the first 3 Lute activations are actually roulette because like you're not at 11 ink when you're doing this.
Yeah.
And you're like it's like you're at 10 ink, right? Well, if you draw this when you're at 10 ink and you play it and you activate it, it's got to be a 5-drop or less, and like and you can't leave the card on top, right?
No, it goes to the discard.
Yeah, it discards, right? So so like, man, it's just like this is what you got to do, If you're a Ruby Sapphire enjoyer, you need a Lute to like grind out these purple decks. This card, when I first read it, it made me so mad because I'm staring at Woodchuck's guidebook.
Yep,
and it's like, man, Amethyst for 3 gets to draw 2 cards and it's inkable. And like, Ruby for 3 gets to put a brick into play. That they like
and not even use it.
may or may not be able to use. Like there's no guarantee that you ever get to use it because like I've had Lute games where I just discard really really good cards.
Yeah. A Maleficent Dragon, when you have 5 ink, you're like, oh man.
But on the flip side, I've absolutely won games that I never could have won because the Lute, the Lute gods were kind to me and I got to draw 4 extra cards. And like that's what Ruby Sapphire needs right now to compete with the purple decks is just some way to grind.
Yep.
And the Lute does it. But man, when it feels bad, it's gonna feel horrible. It's like,
it's kind of the same as Grab Your Bow and Sisu. When it's bad, it's just at least you can play it out there and hopefully you can pay 2 next turn. Unlike Grab Your Bow, it's just stuck. Moving on, next card, we have our queen, Elsa. So she's a 6-cost inkable, 5/5, quest for 1, shift 4 with 2 abilities. Endless Winter. When you play this character and whenever you play a location, you may exert chosen character with 3 strength or less. And then Distant Call. While this character is at a location, she gets +3 lore.
We are like just a playable location away from this Elsa being like pretty good.
Yep.
But like right now, the really only good combination with her is with like the only location that like you would want to put in your deck otherwise is like the library.
Yep.
It's not quite good enough yet, but like there's a ton of good text on this card.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you just needed another exerter to go with like the other Elsa, it would be good enough. I think the Elsas, there's enough playable Elsas that like it even is possible to shift. But like right now, it's just like the locations aren't quite good enough.
Yeah, so you're like using half of the card, basically.
Yeah, but like if you could play her and then next turn play like McDuck's Manor, exert something,
that would be
crash
crazy.
your Elsa in, or like crash something else in, and then quest for 4 with like it's so close.
Yeah, it's so close. Just needs another location.
Anything.
Anything
with 2 lore, like 2 lore pips in a reasonable color.
Or a decent amount of health even.
McDuck Manor reprint for tomorrow.
The Ruby
Please.
Sapphire players are gonna love that one.
Yeah.
And the last card in Ruby is Marching Off to Battle. It's a 4-cost inkable song. If a character is banished this turn, draw 2 cards. The pause is...
God, this. So, on one hand, we should commend the Ravensburger game developers when they recognize a mistake and then print more balanced versions of it. And Friends, on the other side, was too good of a card. But on the flip side, we've sang Friends with our 3-drops for 2 years.
Yep.
And now to go to this is like very hard.
Yep.
But, you know, Ruby Sapphire in particular is so desperate for a way to go card positive that like you might just have to play this. And it's got some really powerful lines. Like if you go,
oh, sure it does.
1-drop, Sail, Cinderella, next turn play, the Headless Horseman, and Cindy gets to sing and draw 2. That's really powerful. But
Very
sometimes your opponent just doesn't play a card that you could Headless Horseman, and this
and it
doesn't do anything.
It's like, yeah. Like when I test this card, it's just like, it's like 2 extremes. It's either very good or very bad. There's like nothing in between.
And whereas like Friends on the other side is this incredible card to draw off the top in like a grindy matchup late game. This is just horrible.
You can even like hard cast it if you top deck Friends. Like with this one, you're just like,
yeah. No, this is well, like you got to do what you got to do what you got to do to go.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Positive in some of these colors. I mean, and like this is playable in Amber Ruby variants as well. Like it's a song.
Yeah.
At least you can cash this in for 1 card if you've got a boosted aerial in play.
Yep.
It's not. You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that, but
do that.
Yeah. One of the best things in Amber Ruby that I did with this card was play a Singer 4 on turn 2, like Vanessa. And then you play Human Sisu on turn 3 on their Tipo. And then you sing and draw 2, and it feels great. It's going to
feel very powerful, and you're like, oh man, march off the battle is.
Yeah. And then they don't play a Tipo, they play Sail instead. You're like, well.
I don't know. It's why couldn't this card say draw 1?
Yeah.
And if your opponent, if a character was banished, you can draw 2.
Yeah. Like that would be like so much better.
At least let me cycle it like Sail for 4.
Yeah.
Through the mid game if it's going to be.
Yeah. Just slightly off. Yeah. Moving on to Amethyst.
The sad thing is this isn't our top 5.
No, it's not in our top 5. We'll get to that later. We'll talk about the cards I think are overhyped, and that Marching was definitely one of them.
Ruby cards in 2026.
But we'll go on to everyone's favorite color, Amethyst. Starting with...
We got some good ones in this color.
We got a lot of good ones. Starting with Pocahontas. So she's a 2-cost uninkable, 3/2, and her ability is whenever this character quests, gain lore equal to another keyword, chosen exerted character's lore total. Very aggressive card
here.
Very, very aggressive card.
Yeah. Could find a few homes. First paired with Amber, we get the 9 lore Pocahontas Daisy line. It could be played in like a green-purple burn. This if you go like Merfolk into Pocahontas and then the Merfolk doesn't get banished the first time it challenged, it's like you get 5/4 out of those 2 cards.
Yep.
The other place I'm like pretty excited about it is in Ruby Amethyst. So Ruby Amethyst really relied on going 1-cost character into Diablo, particularly against say green blue. And now you have a second 2-cost character that quests for 2 in those colors. It's like not totally embarrassing to play, and like she's actually like on the draw, like a fine. Yeah,
3 strength is like pretty key. You dodge all like the Ruby removal, like so you don't just get blown up by grab your bow. You're trying to aggro them out, and it's like it trades.
Yeah, and on the draw in the right colors, in the same color as like Christopher Robin, so you can even just with an all purple line. Get a 2 question to play on turn 1. and then play Pocahontas. Might even be able to extend into like kind of mid-rangey shells. I know a few people trying Pocahontas in an Amber Amethyst, like kind of mid-rangey shell, like not a burn, not an all-in aggressive deck, but like because she has, like I said, she's not embarrassing on the draw.
No.
So I like this card. Certainly, gets better as time goes on.
Sure.
The fact that she doubles up with the like the lore pip boosters is like one of the things that makes her like extra powerful. Is that you could turn good job into 2 lore pips instead of 1 lore pip if you're if you play it in Amber.
Like you can just like get so much like lore unexpectedly from this card.
Also can choose your opponent's exerted characters.
Yep.
So like if your opponent's got a 2 or 3 lore pip character in play, you can steal some extra lore from her.
For sure. And since you mentioned it, Christopher Robin, we'll go that next. So Christopher Robin, 2-cost inkable character, 1/3 that quests for 2, underdog ability. So same thing. If this is your first turn and you're not the first player, you pay 1 less to play this character. And an Olaf on turn 1 that quests for 2. Pretty good against Sapphire decks.
Yeah. I think a really big get in particular for Ruby Amethyst. Because that deck unfortunately is like not really a mid-rangey pile anymore. It's now like an actual 2 lore pip aggressive deck.
Yeah.
And now you can go, especially against the blue decks. Like Christopher Robin's probably going to get 4 lore against the blue decks
most of the time. Unless you're against like, I guess like Blurple. They open like.
So I'm pretty high on him. Like he's probably not good enough for like a purple steel deck, but like any aggressive leaning Amethyst deck. And he like kind of, one of the other challenges in deck building is that you actually need more 1-drops on the draw than you do when you're on the play, because when you miss a 1-drop on the play, it's not really that big of a deal. But when you miss a 1-drop on the draw, it's actually like if you're in an aggressive strategy, it's like kind of a death sentence.
Yeah, it's like almost like missing ramp.
And so now you have 4 more. You're right. You don't have to play 4 more 1-drops in order to actually make sure you hit your 1-drop when you're on the draw. And so like I think he's quite powerful. We kind of get to choose 6 Amethyst cards for this list, and so we kind of get to sneak Christopher Robin in here because 2 other cards are kind of in the same spot.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about these underdog cards is that like you have to ask yourself if you're going to put them in your deck. A lot of them is like, would you pay full cost to play this card? And Christopher Robin is, respectable for as a 2-cost. That quest for 2 is not the worst, but
he's a card that for sure is going to fix a lot of Amethyst decks' bad matchups because like Amethyst decks are typically they're mid-rangey. Against the aggressive decks, they play the control route, but against the control decks, you got to get under. Like you got to go under green blue. You can't grind them out and go long with them. And so you have this option that you can play turn 1 that's going to get you 4 lore when you have to go under, or like yellow blue, right? It's like this potential control deck that's coming, and now you can get under that as well.
Yeah. Because a lot of those decks stall out somewhere around 15 to 17, 18 lore a lot of the time against the control decks, and they just can't cross the finish line. Well, like you mentioned, if Christopher can quest, once or twice, that's the difference in the game, right? Moving on. I think this is probably our favorite and best Amethyst card, Genie. So Genie is a 3-cost inkable card, 3/4, magical stat line, quest for 1, boost 1. And its ability is this character gets +1 lore for each card under him. This card just gets out of control real fast if you don't deal with it.
Yeah, I for the most part in like the early game, he's like kind of mopey. But what he does do is he solves some like awkward curve problems because he is a 3-drop or a 4-drop, right? If you play him on turn 3, he's a 3/4. If you play him on turn 4, he's a 3/4 that quest for 2. And potentially, can quest for 3.
Yep. Once it's done writing. Right, once it dries, you can potentially quest for 3.
Yeah, but like where he's really powerful is like through the mid game, where you know, like your opponent just wiped your board or whatever, and now you have to rebuild. Because like they get out of hand really, really quickly. You know, they quest for 2, 3, 4. You know, that's 9 lore just by themselves.
Even in like Amethyst stalemates, right? When both sides are top decking, it's like you can just keep boosting this every turn, and it's a ticking time bomb. They got to find answers for it, you know, fast.
Yeah, the Genie is not like and the other thing I like about the Genie is that he's not a blurple card, so he's like a purple card that doesn't make the best purple deck better, right? It helps the purple steals, it helps the green purples, it helps
red
the
purple.
other decks.
Yeah.
You know, like purple steel by the end of the Whispers in the well meta, like purple steel ended up having a green blue problem. Eventually the green blue players figured out they just Prince Philip shift as soon as possible. And you know, like the purple steel decks, they had to cut Pete's, they had to cut their early 2 questers. You know, because they had to prioritize other matchups, and now this is like kind of a 3-drop that like really puts the heat back on those decks and really punishes any control deck that stumbles just even a little bit. And very, very powerful in like green purple.
For sure. And like you said, like it's got a respectable stat line. So like you can battle with it. You don't have to quest with it as well, right? It's not like it's flimsy. So very good card.
Also, just like the perfect stat line for Cheshire Cat and Bell. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What can rumble hold damage for you to move?
Exactly. All right, moving on. Our favorite reindeer, Sven. The 4-cost uninkable. It's a 2/3 that quests for 1. It has Rush. It also has Challenger +3, and it has Evasive, which is a lot of text on a card.
Yeah, I think during the stage event that Ravensburger put together when they revealed Sven, they had said that they had kept a close eye on this card through the development process. And at first I was like, that doesn't seem all that good. Yeah. But like he hits everything.
Hits for 5.
The thing I like about him,
yeah,
a thing I like about him is like when you're on the draw against like Blurple, right, and they go Genie, and then you go Genie, and then they go Elsa, exert your Genie. He comes back in and crushes the Elsa or the Genie, like whichever. You know, usually you would hit the Elsa because then the Genie, if it swung back, would finish off.
Yep.
You know, he also is like when he hits for 5, like he'll crash into Pete, the new Sapphire Pete that's coming. John Silver.
Mm-hmm.
With the help of with all you need is 1 fort, and you can take out Prince Phillips if you're playing purple.
Clarabelle's even.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm addicted to crashing Sven into 8 willpower things and going. Even just like against Blurple, like just hitting Hades for 5 and then going for 5 is like
really, like I think really the best. Oh, exactly. I think the best deck I've seen Sven in is like, I think green purple so far. I think I've been the most impressed with this card in green purple, because like in purple steel you already have like a lot of uninkables, and like you have strength and other cards to battle with. Yeah, it would be nice to hit for 5 sometimes in purple steel, but it's like it's kind of awkward to fit. In Blurple, you know, you could put probably like 1 or 2 of these in the deck and probably be fine because you only run 8 uninkables. And red purple is like there's already so many. It's not happening basically.
And quest for 2, we got better.
Yeah, and then the quest for 2, right? So and then green purple is just like you said, the go application, Snowfort. Because like green purple, out of all the other purple decks, I think have the hardest time battling stuff on the board. Yeah, so like being able to swing for 5 on a rush character is huge for that deck. And moving on to the last card, we couldn't really pick between the 2, so we just left them both. So we have Isis and we have Tigger. So Tigger is a 4-cost uninkable character, 4/3, quest for 1. When you play his character, you may return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. And Isis Vanderchill is an uninkable 4-cost character. 4/4 stat line, quest for 1. When you play this character, exert chosen opposing character. The shells that I've seen these cards played the most in is Blurple, because getting these cards out on turn 3, especially against more aggressive strategies, is really strong. Because either you play Tigger, you can bounce back, some of their 2-questers just to slow down the board. It hits for 4, so if, your opponent plays Tramp, you pair it with Elsa, it can hit for 6 and clear the Tramp. Isis and Blurple, it's like, you can play it on turn 3, and like Blurple's issue is that you don't have any way to affect the board or deal with anything on the board until 4 ink, which was when you play Elsa. Whereas Isis is another card that comes out on turn 3 and can start swinging immediately. Obviously, the downside is that, for one, you need a 1-drop on board that can actually battle. If you miss, like, this card does nothing. And the other thing is, it's uninkable, so sometimes it can get awkward. But her stat line is incredible, being a 4/4, right? You can trade the cat into Cheshire Cat, not lose your character in return, which is quite huge at the same time.
Tigger can also return your own dock, right?
It can return dock. It can also bounce lanterns.
I've seen Tigger in Purple Steel doing dock stuff, like where the elephant spot used to be.
Yep.
Which gives Tigger some early game application. It's like bouncing your opposing stuff, but then it's also kind of not dead if you draw it through the mid game, because it can get like your own dock back, which is pretty interesting. I'm higher on Tigger than Isis, but
same.
Isis probably solves the like if you had a problem that you needed to solve, I think Isis probably is a little more finite in that regard.
Oh, 100%.
If like Willow decks were causing Blurple problems. If I note, like if I were playing Isis, I would probably switch back to Rafiki over.
You need it. Yeah, you hit for 3
over the Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Just because you can, almost assured that you're going to hit something, and so
yeah,
they're both kind of interesting. It's hard because the 3 best cards that like all the mid range purple decks got are all 4 cost, and 2 of them are uninkable, and so like you really are going to have to pick your spots. But
and you already play an uninkable one in Genie, so
yeah,
space is tight. But I mean, they both solve a very niche thing that those decks kind of need help with. So if if the meta calls for it.
Isis also, when assuming both players hit ramp, right? Isis actually works to hit up the Clarabelle if you're on the draw.
Yep.
Because it'll come down first. Whereas Tigger might not if they played like say Cindy, because you'll just bounce the Clarabelle, they'll just replay it and shift and sing with the Cinderella anyway.
Yep.
And so like that's an instance where like Isis is a little better than Tigger if you're trying to solve that particular problem.
Yeah. They do very similar things, but in different matchups. Cool. Moving on to our next color, Steel. Starting with Nani. So Nani is a... Where did it go here? It's a 1/4 off the top of my head. I'm pulling up the card right now.
Yeah, 1/4. Quest for 1 normally. But quest
one
for
has
2
no damage, gains an extra lore. Yeah. I mean, it's an aggressive 2-quester on turn 2 for a lot of these Steel decks. So, and it's got like the 4 health, right? It's quite hard for most decks to deal with 4 health in the early game. Yeah,
it's probably most beneficial in like Amber Steel or like a Green Steel aggressive shell.
Yeah.
It's interesting in say Purple Steel, where a lot of decks would play Timothy Q Mouse in this spot as like this early aggressive quester, because I think Nani's just like a strictly like for
better. I would agree.
Like it's not strictly better, but like in practice, not having to play. Purple Steel often doesn't want to play an evasive on turn 3. You want to put like a cat into play, or like a Lexington into play, or something like that. A Cobra even, and so like Timothy would only quest for 1, and so like it's this weird curve where like you need Timothy to be aggressive, but like he's not questing aggressively because you couldn't follow him up with like your 2 of Tinkerbell. And so this is I think even in Purple Steel, it's like probably never more than like a 1 or Nani's like never more than a 1 or 2 of in Purple Steel.
I wouldn't do
like,
more than that.
If you were ever reaching for Timothy Q Mouse in Purple Steel, I think now you grab Nani instead. But like in Amber Steel, she's like one of the premier 2 drops, right? Like Lilo's better later, and you kind of want to hold on to your Lilos until later because like your Mulan might discard it, or you might need to be taking a turbo dock line, so you might discard one Lilo to dock for it. And Nani's like kind of harder to get off the table than Lilo is. So like as a turn 2 on the play card where you missed Aurora, Nani's like one of the better ones that you could have.
For sure.
Not even the best steel 2 drop though, but
no. But speaking of Lilo, 2 cost unequal character, 1/2 the quest for 2. The ability during each opponent's turn, the first time this character would take damage, she takes no damage instead. And with the new ruling update, she got quite a big buff because moving damage with Cheshire Cat or Belle or putting damage with Malicious, Mean, and Scary does not take damage the first instance now.
Yeah.
From that.
Her shield is the best shield that you could have, the best text you could have on the card. It differs from, say, Amber Rapunzel, who would protect something when chosen with support. Because Rapunzel specifically mentions being dealt damage. And so take is this overarching umbrella that has dealt damage, put damage, and move damage underneath of it. So whereas Rapunzel is only affecting being dealt damage, Lilo's shield is, it prevents all 3, which makes her very like the most common way, before yesterday, where the ruling changed to get Lilo off the table was to get 2 damage on something and move it with Cheshire Cat. And now you also have to be able to hit Lilo and then move damage to her, which like oftentimes decks aren't going to, like the slower decks are not going to want to devote 2 resources to just getting Lilo off the table. And so she's really, really, really powerful.
Very strong.
And we didn't talk about the Amber shift Lilo, but she's like a really sturdy shift target. Like she's very reliable at being on like you can play her on turn 3 with the lady, and like she's going to be there turn 4 when you want to shift your lady and like get something back.
All the good Lilo shifts that we talked about earlier. All the good Lilo cards.
And, if you ever get like 2 or 3 of these, after the ruling change came out yesterday, I just had there was this card Meteor in Hearthstone from back in the day. It dealt like 15 damage to something, and like I just had this thought of Lilo getting hit by a Meteor and just rolling away, collecting her 2 lore points. It doesn't care. Lilo's great,
good card.
But she also, I mean, she's pushing the uninkables in Amber Steel up like to the mid 20s. And so like that could be a little rough, but
thankfully that deck can win on 2-3ing. So moving on, we have Gigi, 3 cost inkable. It's a 2/4 quest for 1, has the alert ability, and second ability, so pretty. While this character has no damage, she gets +2 strength. So I think a lot of people might know that I am a Lexington hater, and so are you.
Same. Same.
And when I saw this card, I'm like, I am never even entertaining the thought ever again playing Lexington in my deck.
Yeah, you need when you're playing purple steel and you're on the draw, you need something that actually threatens Genie and
can quest into other slower control blue decks or green blue.
And what happens with Lexington when you're on the draw is they just exert it with Elsa. And it doesn't ready because you have too many cards in your hand, and the Genie just quests for free with no problems. And you can't even sing with it, right? And like Gigi at least will stick around to sing, unless they want to put 4 damage on Elsa and 2 damage on Genie. And like I think you, in a lot of ways, you'd be completely okay with that exchange.
Yeah, you're okay with that.
And Lawrence has been around since set 2. Similar style text where he's a 4/4, while undamaged. Was a better quester, better Rapunzel trap than say Gigi is, right? But Gigi's a better defensive tool. And Gigi's also likely to hit stuff for 4 twice because of Cheshire Cat and the ability to move damage. And so I think she's like quite a reliable character that you can put into play on turn 3 and expect her to stall the board out or be able to sing Strength of a Raging Fire. So I like Gigi a lot.
Me too. Like in testing, this card has been really difficult to maneuver around. Like especially like if you're playing like purple steel into Blurple, right? Where you want like Lexington and Gigi and those kind of things. Um, like you said previously, you would just exert it with Elsa or Demona, and then like you're just like, I don't have to deal with this card right now for like 2 turns because it never readies. But the fact that Gigi doesn't ready anymore, it's like you have to deal with it, or you're gonna lose your Genie. And then it's just overall, I just think it's just better than Lexington at this point, and Dragon Genie as well. Being able to hit for 4, it's just kind of just like a solid card overall for purple steel that you can play if you want like a 3-drop that can hit for 4 against evasives.
Also, may never come up, but is an alien for any alien tags matters cards.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, we have Angel. I think this card, well, it's a 4-cost inkable, 3/3 with 2 abilities. While you have no cards in your hand, this character gains resist +2 and good aim. Once during your turn, you may choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to chosen character. When this card was first revealed, I might have said it to you, I don't remember, but I was not too high on this card at the very beginning. But also because we didn't know Grandmother Willow was a card at that time. So I was like, why would I want to play this on as a 4-drop to do 2 damage? To what do I need to deal with?
Yeah.
And then along came Grandmother Willow.
I have fears that blue steel is going to be good again.
Me too.
And like, there's a whole community that comes with blue steel being good again. But Angel and the Pete that we'll talk about when we get to Sapphire, they're both allies.
Huge upgrades.
And they're just big upgrades for the deck. And she's like this 4-drop that is like kind of scary. You can use her ability immediately. In purple steel, you can reload with say Yzma or with Hades or with Demona. Like a lot of
any draw card.
All of those weird draws that like the Demona decks have.
Yeah.
Where you're always stuck with 1 card in hand, and so you don't get to draw 3 because you're like you want to be able. You have 2 cards in hand going into your 6 ink turn, right? So you're going to draw 1, you're going to ink 1, you're going to play Demona, and you're going to draw 2. Now you just get to like chuck 2 damage on something and get that 1-cost character or that uninkable out of your hand and replace it with something better.
Exactly.
She's really good in blue steel. She's really good in purple steel.
Yep.
Those are the 2 colors that like have the resources to like actually threaten her ability all the time.
Yeah.
One interesting conversation that came up recently in the lounge Discord, so shout out to them. And Justice was the guy that brought it up. It's like there was this question of whether or not Fire the Cannons is like a quote unquote good card. And regardless of what the answer was, like Fire the Cannons is like, it's a tool that you can use when the metagame calls for it. Mm-hmm. But the question is a lot different when it's like any card can be Fire the Cannons.
Yep.
Right. And it's like, and it's free.
And it's free.
Right? And like I can upgrade any card into Fire the Cannons or even downgrade any card into the Fire the Cannons. But like if now you have the access to Fire the Cannons without putting it in your deck, devoting a resource slot to it. And it makes Thunderbolt, He Hurled His Thunderbolt a little bit better because like you can trade up to hit 5 and 6 toughness things. It's not super efficient. You don't want to be doing that all the time, right? But like you gotta
in
do
a
what
pinch,
you do.
If you need to do it, you gotta do it.
Yeah, Angels and like there are decks that just cannot beat Angel.
Oh yeah, it's
like
like those aggressive decks.
The resist doesn't come up all the time, but like sometimes it does. And
this comes up a lot against Blurple because they have a very hard time hitting for 5, and like you send an Elsa in, and it's like it does 0. Like so you can't even use Cheshire Cat or Bell to finish off this Angel because you don't do anything. So it's like really awkward, especially against, like you said, in blue steel, purple steel. Those decks often are operating at like 1 or 0 cards a lot of the time. So like, the ability comes up fairly often. It's and it's just annoying. Like it's just annoying of a card, I would say. Overall.
I mean, when even in a matchup where you wouldn't expect it to be good, say blue green,
Who
It's
comes
like
up?
when you're
Comes
on
up.
the draw against blue green, you just have to get the crap out of your hand,
Yeah.
right? And like if you mulligan away your genies, but you draw one anyway, and you're like, oh,
Yeah. Yep.
it's like chucking it to deal 2 damage. It's not going to feel good, but like it's better than the alternative of letting blue green
Draw more cards.
draw more cards. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
you
mean,
just do
being
what
able
you
to
gotta
turn
do.
your T-bows or your hooks or your palace guards into firely cannons is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very strong card. And it's like going to be, it's the right kind of polarizing because it's an inkable card. So you're like, unlike Grab Your Bow, where you're always stuck with the card regardless of how good it is.
Yeah.
Angel, when it's not the matchup for her, you put her in the Inkwell. But like when you queue, and queue in the dogs,
Yeah.
like
Play it.
she's just gonna devour them. Just gonna throw snowballs at them and knock them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah. One thing we also didn't talk about is like in evasive battles, if you have an angel, it cleans up the evasives really nicely.
Yeah, Genie.
Yeah, Genie. A lot of times, because in the evasive battle, especially if your opponent has a Cheshire Cat, you have 2 damage lying around somewhere on your board, and you can't take out their ready Cheshire Cat. So like playing the angel, ping 2, and then move the 2 with Cheshire Cat to their cat. Really big tempo swing as well there. And our last card in Steel, we have John Smith. So he, uninkable 3/6, 5 costs, quest for 2, has Bodyguard, and the ability Do Your Worst. Your opponents must choose this character for actions and abilities if able.
Yeah, so surface level, all the actions have to go after John Silver.
Yep.
1 level deeper, Cat and Belle are shut off because you actually can't choose another character to move damage from. You have to choose him. So if so your only option with Belle, with Belle or Cheshire Cat is to move damage from him to him. So you don't do anything. And then you go 1 level deeper than that. I was playing last night in a group chat, had some friends. We're all talking through the lines. My opponent had a John Silver. We came up with this big brain line that we thought was going to involve some Webbies to take out John Silver. And we found out that Webby has to buff John Silver too. And so after wasting a minute trying to come up with a cool line, we just had to pack it up and shuffle it up because none of it worked. He's easily like the most interesting card
For sure.
of the new set. He does something unique that we've never seen before. He's like the best protector that ever printed.
Yeah, he's like what Sponge Beast wants to be.
Yeah, no, he's definitely an upgrade on that card.
Yeah.
I've seen weird applications, like even in Purple Steel. Like my opponent played Yzma, right? They got 1 card in hand. Next turn they draw an inkable. They ink, play John Silver, spin Yzma to draw 3. And then I'm like, oh, I'll just kill the Yzma now. And I'm like, oh, wait.
Can't.
Oh, no. It's like, I'm hard locked out of this game because I can't.
Yeah.
This Yzma's just going to keep, shooting stuff.
Yeah.
Another, like, really interesting for, like, the mid-range Amber Seal decks as well. Just a really cool tool. It's hard to think of, like, every application that it's going to turn up, but like it's one of those steel and steel violence things. Like, back in the day, all the good steel cards, like if steel was a problem, there was a steel card that solved it. And like, that's the same way with John Silver now.
Yeah.
It's like, if you ever get tired of getting strength or bolted, John Silver is there for you.
Yeah. It's also really hard to deal with, right? 3/6.
Yeah. No, he's really big.
Yeah.
I expect this card to see play. I would expect it most. I mean, Purple Steel and Amber Steel are like the 2 obvious spots, because those are like kind of the 2 card draw colors now. And they have stuff like Worth Protecting. Like,
Yep, for sure.
But he's good.
It's good. Moving on to our last color, we have Sapphire. Starting with our boy Pete. He's an inkable 5/5. 5/5 quest for 1, boost 1. And then basically you get develop your brain on a body every time you quest. Because every time this character quests, look at the number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of cards under him, put one into your hand, and put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order.
Very good.
Very good.
This is like this is on the short list of like best cards in the set for me.
Yep. Same.
And it's another card I'm like so happy exists because the color pair that it's probably worst in is Blurple. And so it's a 5-drop that doesn't make Blurple better because Blurple already had Elsa and Hades and Belle.
Yep.
And so like this gives hope for other blue decks.
Yep. It gives them draw that they desperately need too.
Yeah. Like really, really good in blue steel. Lot of hope that like if Ruby Sapphire ever comes to life in this set, I think this Pete is going to have is like the reason why that deck can come back. Interestingly enough, even the Ruby Pete from 5 sets ago is like got some life back. The 7 cost inkable 6/6/2. If you have another Pete in play, you get to play Maldragon.
Yeah.
Like I've seen him floating around. And so like that deck, you play you ramp on 2, and then you play Cinderella on 3, and then you play Pete and Boost on turn 4, and then every turn for the rest of the game, you play some character that comes into play and banishes something.
Yep.
Pete's like really hard to take out as a 5/5. Like he survives Thunderbolt.
Good stats.
Survives like Elsa Exert stuff, right? Because like whatever crashes into him, at least he's going to take out. Is completely fine if you only ever just boost him once and just like just quest draw a card because like that's like kind of the same text that the Surfer Stitch has, except there's like no activation to it.
Yeah,
right. You just get it.
Quest it,
and then once you start digging, I mean I've done absurd stuff. Like I've had 5 cards under this, so I'm like playing Visions of the Future every time I quest.
Yeah,
he's very, very powerful.
Yeah. I find him. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say if blue yellow survives, like this is another reason why. He's just like the perfect card for any of these slower decks.
Yeah, like especially the decks that play Cinderella on turn 3, being able to play Pete and boost it immediately is so much better than in going in Blurple. You play a 5, you don't boost, because if someone does choose to Hades, let it go your character, you ramp them. They gain 2 ink as opposed to the 1. And then you just continue curving out to your 7. You can go to Hades right away, right? You can quest it, find a Hades, drop Hades immediately in the Cinderella decks, which is something you couldn't do in Blurple. So, great card. Moving on, this is not a new card, Let It Go. I mean, just Hades on a song 5 cost, just remove stuff, problematic characters, ready characters.
This one annoys me that it's back. Because everything I just said about Pete being good for every deck except for Blurple, this one's good for Blurple.
Yep.
So Purple Steel originally had this play pattern that was like hard for that Blurple couldn't replicate, right? Where you play Hades on the thing that you want to get rid of. They let you draw 2, but one of the cards you drew is strength, and you banish the thing anyway. And now that same play pattern is available to Blurple with Hades, right? You just find Hades. You Elsa the turn before, right? You Elsa and finish something off. You have an Elsa lying around. And then you play Hades on something, they let you draw, and now you just let it go in anyway.
Yep.
And I find that annoying.
It is very annoying.
But like I suspect it's going to be about as good as we were used to it before.
Yeah.
But like with the boost mechanic around, you're giving your opponents lots of ink. And so like that's not trivial.
Yep.
But Let It Go is a good card.
Yeah. Like it's especially good if it's like against slower decks, other blue decks that just play like one big thing a turn. It's like kind of like a Sudden Scare that some people tinker with last set against when there's a lot of big blue decks. Just banish the big thing and move on with your day, right? So yeah, good, solid card. Moving on, we have Belle. We have 4 costs inkable, 2/3 quest for 2. And ability, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may put that card from your discard into your inkwell face down and exert it. So like this gives a lot of those slower decks that play Cinderella another option that they could play on turn 3, because they could crash in their Tipo to ramp. They could crash in, if Liquidator, Tinkerbell, as they played it on turn 1 to ramp. Just solid alternative lines. Something that people might not know as well is that Belle also sees herself if you take out the Belle.
Yep. And if for whatever reason something mattered, like there's the new Annas that care about stuff leaving the discard. Belle's ability works with all of those. The card moves to the discard and then goes to the inkwell. So it would would work to make Anna shift for free. Not that I expect that to come up in competitive, but maybe one day it does. But she's very strong. I think at her best in Ruby Sapphire as like a complement to Cinderella. Mostly because of like Tinkerbell and the Liquidator and Tipo as ways to ramp. She's fairly aggressive. Like she actually quests for 2. And so she's kind of good. I also think she's very playable in Infinity. So my favorite Infinity deck is this like Cruella Blurple deck that uses the old purple 1-drops, Chernobog's Followers, and Broom. And what you would do previously is use those with the Cruella from the legendary Cruella from Fabled. So when you activated either your Broom or your Chernobog, you would get an additional ink. And now with Belle, you actually get 2 additional ink. And so, and that deck also, shout out Infinity Blurple, but it also gets the Miko, the raccoon from this new set as copies 9 through 12 of cards that you can banish on your own turn, 1-drops you can banish on your own turn. So I think Belle in that combo style deck might be Infinity playable. So Belle's got a lot of applications. Blue Steel's in this weird spot where it's got to like choose between going princesses or allies. I think if you go princesses, Belle's like a slam dunk
for sure
for that deck.
For sure.
Yeah, because they have the same lines available with like Captain Hook and Tipo and Mulan and Tipo. And they've got huge ink quantities to get to. I'm really high on this Belle. She's really strong.
For sure. Nope, good card. Next card, we have Grammatala, 12 cost uninkable, 6/6 quest for 2. And for each card in your inkwell, you pay 1 less to play this character. So what I've seen a lot of people do is in yellow-blue, they would ramp a lot, and they would play a Raging Storm, blow up the board, and then just play 2 free Grammatalas, reminiscent of Mike Duck Manor back in the day, after they play Manor, but this is a character instead, because they have so much ink, they can just basically play it for free at that point.
Good for them. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I mean, we had to pick 5 cards, so.
Yeah.
And the last blue Sapphire card is Moana. 5 cost inkable, 4/4 quest for 2, and you can ink cards from your discard. And it's a card that triggers Cinderella because she's a princess. So you ramp again. In decks that are low draw, low resource, you can now ink cards from your discard so that you don't have to ink cards from your hand to keep curving up.
Yeah, her ability reads really close to like draw an extra card per turn. So if you go develop your brain and then sail and then Cindy and then Moana, you're likely going to have like endless cards that you can ink from that point forward from your discard. In a world where like the game really slowed down and you were playing like these long grindy card advantage games, she would be really, really powerful. In the same way that like Great Stone Dragon back in the day was really powerful. I mentioned Demona a lot, and I'm going to mention it here. That's what like is it's just the card that's is the nail in the coffin for Moana. Is that it just like we're not playing this game. Like modern day Lorcana is not the game that Moana would be good in. Because like now it's this race to the bottom to Demona and Hades each other. And Moana just like she needs to stick around in the game to like be kind of mopey for a little bit for her like card advantage to accrue.
Yep.
She's got the right tags. She works with Cinderella, like both in turning Cinderella's ability on, but also she like works on curve with Cinderella that you can ink from the discard. She can sing Grab Your Bow. She can sing Let It Go. She does a lot of really powerful stuff. And like if the Sapphire decks are going to be able to compete with the Amethyst decks, Moana and Belle are like kind of like two cards that like will help them do that.
Yep.
But like, man, she's just gonna get run over by Demona a lot.
For sure.
Like you're gonna feel so bad about it.
For sure.
and like if you're playing yellow blue control, you're gonna have to like you can't even accrue advantage out of her because you're gonna have to Raging Storm your own board.
Yep. Hey, at least if they have Belle on board, they get to ramp themselves. Yeah. Cool. Let's move on to a couple cards that a lot of people are, excited about, but after playing it a little bit more, we think that these cards are a little bit overhyped. So starting with the first card, Ohana means family. This card is a 3-cost inkable action. Remove all damage from chosen character of yours. Draw a card for each 1 damage removed this way. So it reads very, very strong because it reminds us of one of our favorite cards, Rapunzel. But the problem is that it's an action. It doesn't leave a character that's a 1/5 that quests for 2 behind. Because if at worst, Rapunzel, you can play it as a 2-quester if you really had nothing else to do, and then it would Rapunzel trap. It'll be a Rapunzel trap for the next Rapunzel. Whereas Ohana means family. If you have it, you have it, and you really just can't do anything with it in those bad situations.
Rapunzel as a top deck is like a 2-quester that's kind of resilient to a lot of removal. Ohana means family is just a tempo black hole. And even if you do get to draw 3 or 4 cards,
like you can't play anything the rest of the turn.
Board that like and it's like so hard to combo with something meaningful in the same turn. Yeah. I'd be really surprised if this was ever more than like a 1 of in a deck, 1 or 2 of.
Yeah. I haven't the moment I played this card, I put 4 in my deck in testing. After I think like 2 games, I'm like, nope, got none of 2. And then a couple more games, I'm like, at most, I'm playing 1 or 2, maybe to make your opponent respect it at that point in your deck. But like, it's not, the powerhouse that Rapunzel was.
You really need to draw 3 cards for you to feel like you got a deal. Yeah, and like that's actually kind of difficult to do. Yeah.
Whereas Rapunzel, you're like, I'll draw 1, draw 2, and leave a 2 questing body. Fine, right? This one's just like, I'll pay 3, draw 2, pass my turn. Yep. Yeah. And the next Amber card that I think is overhyped and not as good as people think it might be is Raging Storm. The 8-cost uninkable board wipe. Banish all characters.
Can I take this one?
Sure, take it. It's all yours.
Yeah. Even if we go back to Be Prepared, historically, Be Prepared was playable with 2 color combinations. You could either play Ruby Sapphire and ramp to it, or you could play Ruby Amethyst and let the Ruby and Amethyst early game, like the Mauis and the Rafikis or whatever, stall the game out. Plus, they had the card advantage of like Friends and Rabbit, and you'd creep to 7, you would be able to wipe the board. So you gotta pair this with either blue or with purple. And the problem with blue is that like Amber and Sapphire are the 2 worst colors in the game at defending against early game. And you can just get soloed by a single daisy. There's like no 2-card combination. There's no like card you can play on 1 that combines with a Tipo to even take out daisy. Like those daisies are just going to run away with the game.
And questing for like 8 before you deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, so like there are people that are going to play yellow blue control and they're going to avoid, they're going to miss the hyper aggro pairings and they're going to have some results every now and then, but for the most part, that's a problem. And then the problem pairing Amber with Amethyst in this format is that Amethyst already has a better board wipe that's cheaper. And so like, are you really going to, so like, you've already won the board when you play the Demona. Are you going to, you're going to banish your own Demona 2 turns later or like put that uninkable in your deck? Like, no, you're going to do what Amethyst decks have done, for the last 3 months and put the Amethyst early fighters in your deck and you're just going to Demona your opponent. And from that point, you like won the board.
You said it reads strong, but like, it's just, not in the right places.
It's so hard to get to 8. Like even if
It is
that
very
just
hard.
costed 7, it
Yeah.
would be like a different story. But like 8
Yeah.
is 8 is so much.
It's a stretch, right? Agreed. Moving on to the other next card we think is overhyped is the Emerald Mulan. So it's a two cost inkable 1/4. Its ability is whenever this character quests, gain lore equal to her strength to a maximum of 6 lore.
Yeah, 75% of the time this is a 1/4. 20%
Yeah.
of the time this is Nani, like the steel
Yep.
Nani we talked about. 20% of the time, like you'll get that with like Webby or like the Fort or something. And then 5% of the time you'll do the thing with Tramp or whatever.
Yep.
But this is like just it's been really unimpressive in my testing, and like I breathe a sigh of relief when my opponent puts it into play.
Yeah. Like my biggest issue with this card is that, like, yes, when you play Tramp, and you can, pump it up and you can quest for 6, it sounds great, right? But it's like most of the time when you play Tramp, you're using it defensively, not offensively, right? So it's like, that's why you use I don't know, it's like 5% of the time it comes up. Like it's very rare that you even get to the point where you quest for that much. And then it is
interesting in red green where you get the song the +5.
Yes.
I don't think that color's got some that color combo's got some other problems, but like it is interesting.
Other problems for sure. But yeah, it did not jump off, like you said, jump off, the table as we played with it more. Just very unimpressive overall. And the last card that we think overhyped is Colors of the Wind. So it's a 4-cost Amethyst song. Each player reveals the top card of their deck. Draw a card for each different ink type of cards revealed this way.
Even if this was just 4-cost friends to the other side, it's still not good enough. Amethyst is so good at drawing cards these days, but like between Book, Hades, and Demona. That, and like Genie, like you don't and the other thing is like, when we were back when the format, when like people were singing friends, it was because you had like bodies laying around that you weren't doing anything with. Amethyst nowadays like doesn't have bodies laying around because every turn you're exerting your opponent's stuff and smashing them, whether you're playing Isis or Elsa or Demona. Like your 4-cost things are doing stuff or going sideways.
Yeah, you're battling. Yeah.
And the other problem with this deck is that I suspect purple is going to be quite a large part of the metagame, and so like 30% of the time this is going to read as like a draw 1, look at the top card of your opponent's deck, and like that's just not good enough.
Yeah, most of the time it is really just a draw 1. Especially like if you play this card over Book, which our good friend Lorefessor played it over Book, he ran into a Blurple Mirror and he was like, this card is absolutely terrible, because he was drawing 1, singing, losing 2 lore with Genie, while his opponent plays Book, draws 2, and just continues on with their day.
I mean, how many colors where you can even hope to draw 3 are like against, it's got to be exactly purple steel, like and against dogs. Like those are the only 2 that are like currently playing multicolored cards. It's just
even then it's just like, how back in the day, like in pre-rotation when we played friends, like when you are against all the aggressive decks, you really don't even really have time to sing friends because you're just like fighting for the board every turn. And like with all the aggressive strategies there are, with this set, it's just like very rarely you have time to sing with a 4-cost character, let alone, right? Usually that was more left alone against the control matchups like Ruby Sapphire back in the day, because you just need card advantage to grind through their board wipe. But at this point in time, it's like they can't even draw cards anyway.
Can I add one more overhyped card because we haven't talked about it? And
let's do it.
The Akud, the Amber Song, the 3-cost uninkable draw, and Angel, I want to talk about them collectively. Because like these cards read really powerful, and like the Akud song reads as like a from Magic, like a dark ritual where you would like play Angel in 1 and you get to sing. The problem in my experience is that the card on the play and on the draw are 2 different cards, right? When you're on the when you're on the play, you're ramping to 5 on turn 3, and when you're on the draw with with Angel, you're ramping to a 4-cost on turn 2. And so like these decks need really proactive early 5s and early 4s because half the time, you're playing the card as the other one. And Angel is just kind of mopey. Like a 2/2 is just like, it's actually in some ways like that a 1/2 is better than a 2/2 in this format in a lot of ways because of Cheshire Cat.
Yep.
And so like turning Angel sideways to Sing, and not, when your opponent like put a Cheshire Cat into play or like just, play an Elsa or something, or just even use like the 3/3 that they have lying around to hit it. It's like really risky because then you have to like fight back. And so like I think the color pair that makes the most use out of this is like, this is the other song in the Ruby Amber decks. That's like the best. That's the best spot I've played because like when you're on the play, you have good 5-drops you can put into play. You can play Headless Horseman and whack something, or you can put the Stitch into play. But
you can do the boost aerial too.
Yeah, it's been really. It's like just been fine.
Yeah. I think the main issue is that there's not good enough 4-drops on the draw to play in these colors. And like the 5-drops are fine most of the time when you're on the play, but on the draw is rough. And also like the singers, like you mentioned earlier, Angel's not the best to sing a 2/2 right now in this format. Like whereas if you're in like Amber Steel, you play Troubadour or Vanessa, a 1/4, like, fairly sturdy singer that most of the time won't get traded back. Like that's maybe another shell you can, this card could fit into. Or otherwise, like, in testing, like it's been fun to play this card. Like it can do very fun things, but in terms of like good things. Well, thank you, Dave, for joining us, because that wraps up.
It's great to be back.
Yeah. Like love talking Lorcana with you.
Love set review time. It's when you get to do all the fun stuff, before Purple Steel and Blurple take back over again.
Yeah, it's already happening.
I tweeted 2 weeks ago that I hope Dogs is so good nobody can ever play Blue-Green again. So this past week, with all the Sapphire players losing their minds over the Grandmother Willow, is like music to my ears.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's coming into fruition.
It's like, I want Dogs to be the best deck. Come on, Dogs.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for you, Willows. I'm rooting for you.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well,
it was a pleasure.
Yep. Thank you again for coming on. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.